They tore down my dam at dawn on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday night, their homes were swallowed by a raging flood. When the Crestwood Homeowners Association president, Margaret Hensley, personally drove a bulldozer through my county-approved water management system, she didn't know I'd spent 15 years as a hydrological engineer with FEMA, or that my cousin was a county zoning officer, or that I'd kept every email, permit, and violation notice since 2018. She was about to learn the hard way. I'm Ethan Caldwell, 42, and I've built my career on understanding water's relentless power. Drop a comment below. Where are you reading this from? I bet many of you have your own HOA nightmares. This one ends with karma crashing in like a tidal wave. My wife, Natalie, an environmental attorney, and I found our dream home in Crestwood Estates, 3 acres backing a seasonal stream. Where others saw a flood risk, I saw a chance to use my expertise. Natalie warned me, I've seen projects like this spark neighborhood wars. But we played by the rules, designing a modest dam with a spillway to tame spring floods and create a pond. We secured permits, passed county inspections, and presented the plan to the HOA. Neighbors loved it. Margaret even called it innovative. Our elderly neighbor, George Harper, chuckled, "Smart move, but watch that HOA board. They're sneakier than a snake in tall grass." I brushed it off, but his words would haunt me. The dam took 2 months to build and worked flawlessly for 3 years. The pond filled, the spillway managed flow, and neighbors' yards stayed dry. We hosted barbecues by the water, Natalie planted native lilies, and we sipped wine on our floating dock at sunset. Life was perfect until Margaret's daughter, Claire, bought the house across the stream. Suddenly, my dam was an eyesore, and the HOA's top target. Margaret, a retired banker with a car salesman smile and zero scruples, had ruled the HOA for 7 years, unchallenged. 2 weeks after Claire moved in, a certified letter arrived, claiming my dam violated HOA covenants, slapping me with a $100 daily fine. Absurd. I had permits and Margaret's own praise from 3 years ago. At the next meeting, I brought every document, but Margaret waved them off. Permits don't override HOA rules, she sneered, denying her earlier approval. The harassment escalated. Anonymous complaints about my lawn, trash cans, anything. Margaret photographed my property obsessively. Through a county contact, I learned she'd fast-tracked Claire's purchase, dodging flood risk checks. Worse, she'd forged neighbors' names on complaints. One, Tom Reynolds, fumed she used my name without permission. Margaret diverted HOA funds to her granddaughter's birthday bashes and banned kids from playing near the stream, isolating our allies. Natalie and I fought back, challenging citations and requesting board meetings, but most members cowered under Margaret's thumb. One, David Larson, admitted, she controls everything. Nobody wants her wrath. The pressure wore us down. Natalie drafted legal responses instead of working cases. I documented everything, sensing a storm brewing. Then, a Friday notice warned of corrective action the following Tuesday. I didn't know Margaret had rented a bulldozer. While I was 200 miles away at a conference, George called at 6:45 a.m. "Ethan, Margaret's bulldozing your dam." Natalie was in court. I told George to record, but stay safe. Police dismissed my trespassing call as a civil matter. By the time I raced home, the dam was rubble, the pond draining, and Margaret stood smugly, waving like we were friends. "You've destroyed a permitted system," I warned. "You're liable." She laughed. "HOA rules, Ethan." Claire's view is back. A county inspector, James Carter, arrived too late, muttering, "This is bad. A storm's coming tomorrow." Without my dam, water would surge unchecked. I begged Margaret to listen, but she scoffed, "Stop with the scare tactics." That night, emails piled up. An HOA lawsuit claiming my dam endangered the community, and an HR notice from my boss about ethics violations based on anonymous lies. Natalie faced a bar complaint alleging she'd skirted regulations. Margaret wasn't just after my dam, she wanted our careers and lives ruined. As dark clouds loomed, a severe weather warning predicted 8 inches of rain. Rain began at midnight, a roar by dawn. My backup drains spared our home, but downstream, where Margaret and her cronies lived, water turned streets into rivers. By noon, garages flooded. By 6 p.m., Claire's living room had 3 feet of water, and Margaret's basement was submerged. HOA Secretary Linda Brooks called, panicked. "Ethan, water's in our homes. Help." I replied coldly. I warned Margaret. My dam was built for this. David Larson stammered. "She said it was decorative." I snapped. "I'm a hydrologist, David. It was my job." I sent neighbors flood-tipped sandbags, raised valuables, but it was too late. Helping George move his antiques, I heard Claire yell, "This is Ethan's fault. His illegal dam messed up the watershed." Fury surged. Wading through knee-deep water, I confronted her, flashing photos of the bulldozing and permits. "Your mother destroyed a system I warned would prevent this," I roared. "This is her negligence." Tom backed me. "I saw her direct that bulldozer." Neighbors nodded. Claire fled inside. By dawn, Crestwood was a lake. 12 homes were wrecked, for uninhabitable. At an emergency HOA meeting, I laid out my evidence. Permits, rainfall data, Margaret's bulldozing footage. Neighbors shared losses, George's family photos, Linda's business equipment. Insurance denied claims, citing man-made causes. A county commissioner cited the HOA for violating ordinances. A DA officer hinted at charges: property destruction, reckless endangerment. Margaret's defense, "We enforced covenants," crumbled. When she tried to adjourn, retired attorney William Foster stood. "This meeting continues without you." Applause erupted as Margaret stormed out. Over weeks, neighbors revolted. Forensic accountant Sarah Mitchell uncovered Margaret's scams, inflated contracts to her brother-in-law's firm, drained reserves, kickbacks. Neighbors shared stories of bullying, denied solar panels, forced upgrades. The HOA's lawyer, Margaret's old colleague, had rubber-stamped her schemes. Natalie built a legal timeline, uniting a once-distant community. Margaret retaliated with defamation threats and liens, but William fought them pro bono. Security cameras caught her trespassing at 2 a.m., planting something near the dam's ruins. Confronted, she lied, but the board, now led by David, suspended her. The turning point came when Claire, shaken and in jeans, not her usual designer wear, confessed at a meeting. "I warned the county about flood risks 2 days before. I begged Mom to stop, showed her the forecast, but she wouldn't listen." Her voice broke. "I lost everything because she cared about winning." She'd given prosecutors texts proving Margaret's recklessness. The board ousted Margaret unanimously, save for her ally Ellen's vote. As Margaret left, she screamed, "This isn't over, Caldwell." I smiled. "The water says it is." Margaret and Ellen settled a class action suit, paying heavily and admitting fault to avoid bankruptcy. The DA charged Margaret with destruction, endangerment, and fraud. Ellen's real estate license was suspended. My job and Natalie's license were restored. A new board vowed transparency. Natalie drafted fair bylaws. I designed a better dam, built by neighbors, now a community hub with benches by the spillway. Claire sold her home and left, exposing Margaret's years of manipulation. On the flood's anniversary, we toasted at the new dam. George said, "A flood washes away the filth, showing what's real." Last week's storm tested the dam. It held perfectly. But a new inspector, Calvin Hayes, eyeing my cameras, feels like trouble. I've got my documents ready. This time, we're prepared.